All right, good afternoon, everybody. I said good afternoon,
Good
everybody.
afternoon. Good afternoon.
That's much better. Welcome to the Justice for Marcus Taylor press conference. Today we will be hearing from several people about an injustice that happened here in the state of Mississippi and the path forward and what we're doing to correct this and make things right. So the speaker lineup is going to be number one, Attorney Malik Shabazz, which is from the Black Lawyers for Justice, followed by Mr. Marcus Taylor, followed by Ms. Priscilla Teal, Civil Rights Organization, National Association of Black Defenders. So that will be the order of service, and I will be back after all of the speakers are spoken to discuss the path moving forward and what the next steps will be. So at this time, I would like to welcome Attorney Malik Shabazz to the podium.
All right. Good afternoon. Once again, we're here in the pursuit of justice because that's what we're about. So, what do we want?
Justice.
And when do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
And when do we want it?
Now.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Malik Shabazz. I am a civil rights attorney and I lead Black Lawyers for Justice. And I'm here with Mr. Marcus Taylor, who's the subject of this news conference. I'm also here with one of my law partners, Attorney Trent Walker. You know that Trent Walker and I were the attorneys that fought the case against the Rankin County Goon Squad and Sheriff Brian Bailey. Also, Attorney Trent Walker as lead counsel and I are also on the Monica Lee case, which was just successfully overturned by the Court of Appeals in this state. So I want to acknowledge Attorney Trent Walker. I want to acknowledge Ms. Priscilla Teal and her followers who from the National Association of Black Defenders. You'll hear from her in a moment. This is a statewide legal civil rights organization. You'll hear from her in a moment. And of course, Representative Fabian Nelson. The reason why we're here is because this honorable representative has decided to address the case and the causes of justice for Marcus Taylor and others similarly situated to Marcus Taylor. Okay, so Marcus Taylor's here and he suffered a grave injustice, an injustice that is so great that something remarkable happened in this state which was unexpected. In February of 2015, Marcus pled guilty to conspiracy to sell a Schedule III substance, Mississippi Code 97-1 He pled guilty to this Schedule III conspiracy count. It was supposed to get him a 5-year sentence in prison, just 5 years. Okay, but what happened was Marcus got sentenced to 15 years. And for many years after he was supposed to have been let out and released, Marcus languished in jail. Marcus suffered in jail. Marcus was deprived of some of the most precious years of his life where he should have been free according to Mississippi law, but he wasn't free. And why wasn't he free? Marcus was failed by many. He was failed by this Mississippi system. Marcus Taylor was failed by his defense counsel. He was failed by his attorneys. Marcus Taylor was failed by prosecutors. Marcus Taylor was failed by judge in this case, and Marcus Taylor was done a tremendous amount of wrong. And what remarkable happened was that the governor of this state, Governor Tate Reeves, did something that was completely unexpected, and he granted Marcus clemency last year, and Marcus got out of jail after languishing behind bars for about 10 years. Governor Tate Reeves. And this is because the Court of Appeals had found that Marcus' sentence was illegal and Marcus shouldn't be incarcerated and that Marcus should be released. We give credit to the governor here for doing something which is unexpected. That Governor Tate Reeves would let an African-American man out who was convicted of such offense that he would intervene and grant him clemency. And for that, we give him credit and give him respect for that, and we thank the governor for granting Marcus Taylor clemency. Okay, now that Marcus is out, we are dealing with the issues of justice for Marcus Taylor and justice for others that are similarly situated to Marcus Taylor. Mississippi is becoming well known for persons that are behind bars that shouldn't be behind bars, that are in prison for years beyond the time that they should be in prison. So our representative, Honorable Fabian Nelson, and others are taking up this cause to make the necessary legislative changes and legislative reforms so that this doesn't happen again to anyone. So I just want to say that before I bring Marcus on, that justice for Marcus Taylor. Can I hear it? Justice for Marcus Taylor. Justice for who?
Marcus Taylor.
Justice for who?
Marcus Taylor.
And Marcus is not just concerned about himself, he's concerned about others. But let's hear from Marcus about what happened to him and how he has felt about this entire ordeal, which, as many of you already understand, is outrageous. Marcus Taylor, I present to you.
Hey, how y'all doing today? Yes, I come here today and to say a few things about, during my time. I came here today to say some things about, my incarceration. The time it was hard to going through something that was excessive, and I want to just, join the struggle and make things right for others, not as well as myself. I also like to thank Governor Tate Reeves for granting me clemency, finding justice in this situation, and hopefully things will get better in time, and for all of us, as we press forward. So I just hope things just get right. That's, that's all I pretty much have to say.
Okay. We'll take a few questions in a moment. We'll take questions. Okay. So I want to hear now from, there's a committee for justice for Marcus Taylor. And this committee is headed by a very strong advocate for civil rights and human rights in this state. She's a member of the Emmett Till family. Her name is Miss Priscilla Till, and she is from the National Association of Black Defenders. And she is going to explain what she's doing on behalf of Marcus in this case. Let's bring on Miss Priscilla Till.
Thank you, Mr. Shabazz. I've recently just met Mr. Marcus Taylor. And again, I'm sorry, I am from the National Association of Black Defenders, and what we are is a voice for advocacy, education, and equal rights under the law. And I stand here today with Marcus Taylor and his family with the ordeal that they have gone through for over the past 10 years. I don't know if you all are aware, but he's been gone from his child since the child was 2 years old. And I just spoke with his baby. Would you come here, Lakeland? I just spoke with his baby, and he shared with me that his father has been gone since he was 2 years old. Now, if you all are listening to me, that's a lot of years for a father to have been gone out of a child's life. Him, Mr. Taylor, and the mother has suffered tremendously with his father being locked up. So I'm asking the community today, we've started a GoFundMe, Justice for Marcus Taylor. Please, would you all add funds to Justice for Marcus Taylor? This family needs assistance. This family needs help. He has just come back into the community. So we're asking those that are concerned that families are going through the same situation as Marcus Taylor. Now, what we do as far as the National Association of Black Defenders, we go out into communities and help families that are going through the exact same thing as Marcus Taylor. I don't know if you all are aware, I've been with the whistleblower, Mr. Fred Chambliss, Mrs. Angela Buckner, along with my comrade, Mrs. Shirley Johnson. We get plenty of calls each and every day about men and women being locked up more than they should or not receiving due process like they should. So we know that there's a problem in Mississippi, and I would like to go to each and every prison and jail to see how many are locked up right now that have not gone before a judge, that has not been warranted the due process they should, and whose family continues to reach out to us and let us know the cases of the men and women that have been locked up and deserve a fair trial. Now, talking to Mr. Marcus Taylor, we know that he suffered. He comes up here today, he really don't know what to say because his rights have been violated. And it was by the grace of God that Governor Tate Reeves did give him clemency. I grant him clemency. But I can truly say, with the help that is going on in Mississippi right now today, there are men and women are suffering. And there is a team, there are organizations now that are helping Mississippi change. I can actually see Mississippi change. So I would like for you all to stand with me as we make sure Mississippi moves forward towards progression. I would like for Blakeland to say something. Blakeland, where are you?
Good evening. My name is Lakeland Brown, and my father has been gone from my life. My father has been gone from my life for 13 years, and I'm 14 now. And I just wanted to thank Tate Reeves for giving my father clemency.
So, Governor Tate Reeves, again, we thank you for granting the clemency. Now, we have other people that have reached out to us from these county jails, the prisons, and they also are asking us, hey, can you get in touch with Tate Reeves for us? So, yes, you all, we are trying to help others that have reached out to the whistleblower, the National Association of Black Defenders, Angela Buckner, as well as Fabian Nelson. They are asking, since this has happened with Marcus Taylor, there are more people, stories deserve to be told. So again, GoFundMe, Justice for Marcus Taylor, Justice for Marcus Taylor. And please, I would love to thank the Honorable Malik Shabazz for coming here representing Marcus Taylor and John Burnett. Thank you.
Okay, let's give Ms. Teal a round of applause. We'll do one more and I'm coming back to you. Okay, so once again, we're after justice for Marcus Taylor, and imagine his son. His son lost some of the most precious years of his life growing up that he could have and should have had with his father, but he didn't because Marcus' sentence was illegal, and he spent time, years and years behind bars that he shouldn't have, because this system and every part of this justice system, again, from his lawyers to prosecutors to judges and the system itself, have failed him. So while we fight for justice and fight to get Marcus compensation, we do want you to go to GoFundMe. Go to GoFundMe and search Justice for Marcus Taylor and put in a righteous contribution so that Marcus can get his life back. This is a different Marcus Taylor than the man that went to prison in 2015. This is a different Marcus Taylor. This is a changed Marcus Taylor. And I think Mississippi wants to recognize that people fall and people fail. But if they do their time and they're rehabilitated, that they should be upheld in society and they should be respected. That's what Mr. Taylor is. And so to conclude, before we bring on questions here, I want to bring on a national civil rights activist. He was key in the cases in Rankin County, Goon Squad cases against Brian Bailey. He's always on the front lines. A national civil rights leader from True Healing Under God, brother, President John Barnett.
Thank you all for being here today. Yes, I was rushing out of Georgia to get here, and I got here right on time. Shout out to Fred Chambers. But I do want to say that when Dr. King was alive, there was 310,000 black men in prison in this country. Today, almost 1 million black men. No, California isn't looking too good. I just left California last month. 150,000 people in prison. Georgia, 41,000. South Carolina, where I'm from, 27,000 men in prison. North Carolina, where I was born, 31,000. So Dr. King's dream is a nightmare. And I will say today that it's very important not only that we help Marcus today. I'll be donating the first $100 to you, Marcus, as soon as I find out what your cash app is. But it's justice for Marcus Taylor. Make sure you donate. Somebody had to sow a seed to Malcolm X. His name was Alex Haley before he went to Mecca. Malcolm X was low on funds, and Alex Haley helped him. So, Marcus, I don't know you. I just met you today. I'll be sowing a seed to you, $300 total, $100 for the next 3 months. May not be much, but hopefully it'll be able to help you. But I do know that I want to thank and honor my big brother, Attorney Malik Shabazz, who not only me and him came out here and fight for 2 Afro-American men, one in particular that was shot in his mouth and the bullet came out of his neck. Thank God he lived. But I never thought we'd come back to Mississippi. So the first time we came, it was for a man that got shot in his mouth. This time we're here in the day in this elaborate, illustrious building we have here called the Capitol. Shout out to Fabian for letting us in here. But we're here today for Marcus because he was falsely accused. So was the movie Hurricane. Denzel Washington fought and displayed his acting ability to show the world about a man named Reuben Hurricane Carter. He stayed in jail over 20 years. And today I bring another person. So, Mr. Shabazz, your work is cut out for you. Not only are we honoring and acknowledging Marcus today, but Miss Page is here today. Miss Page from Bay Springs. She stands behind me. She can wave her hand. I got 30 seconds left. But Miss Page's sons have been falsely accused, too, in Mississippi. Both of her sons are in prison. Falsely accused, and yet they sit in prison, and I'm working with the lawyers to try to get them out as well. So, as I close, it's been said that out of 100 inmates in this country, in the good old United States of America, that 23% have mental illnesses. And even alarming, 18 and 19% are innocent. And so in saying that, I close. I ask that you continue to support Marcus and the other inmates who are still screaming out for help. When we leave here today, Mr. Shabazz, our phones are going to be ringing. And they're going to be texting from prison because they got cell phones in prison. Just keep it real. But the reality is that there's more men screaming out, not only Mississippi, they're screaming out in Georgia, screaming out in California. I just left there where a man has been sitting in prison for 44 years. He didn't shoot him, but he's been sitting there for 44 years. Shout out to David Duke. I close and tell you that let us pay attention to these prison cells because they're screaming out to us. All of them are not guilty. Some are innocent like Marcus, and we're going to continue to fight for those. And the best voice we have today with Miss Priscilla Teal, Brother Fabian, Brother Shabazz, Fred Chambliss, Leon, and others, is that we have to be the voice for those individuals in prison. I close. I give this to the scriptures to the pastors. Those pastors I've never seen during the marches during the Goon Squad. It's a scripture that says, Hebrews 13:3 as I walk away. It says, remember those who are in prison as if you are in prison yourself. Hebrews 13:3. You all be blessed. Keep your head up.
Coming right back to you. All right, let's give Mr. Barnett and everybody that spoke a round of applause. What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
And when do we want it?
Now.
Okay, so justice for Marcus Taylor, but also those that are being treated like Marcus Taylor. This is a groundbreaking day, and it's not easy once you're incarcerated to gain access to justice, what they call post-conviction release. Once you've been convicted and a certain amount of time or years goes by, it's very hard to get back through courts of appeals to even get your matter handled. And so we want to thank the Honorable Fabian Nelson. He's the Honorable Fabian Nelson because on a legislative level, he's going to explain what he's doing to work with this so that, because if State Reeves hadn't seized in and gave Marcus clemency, he could have still been behind bars through more and more appeals. And so our trusted representative is addressing that. and also persons in Mississippi who they just persons in Marcus' situation who've been given more time than they should, even though that they were lawfully convicted. Well, they're not exactly treated the same as persons who have wrongful convictions, and these are things we got to think about as we go forward. So I'm going to bring back to you now. I also want to acknowledge I do have Miss Vanessa Dixon, who's the mother of a man named Frederick Trimble, who you all may have read about in the New York Times articles on the Rankin County Goon Squad. And Miss Dixon's son, Frederick Trimble, is behind bars for many years longer than he should, because the persons that were behind his conviction and prosecution and arrest and terrible things that happened to him when he were arrested, they were members of the Rankin County Goon Squad. I'm talking about Brett McAlpin and Christian Denton. And so Frederick Trimble is something that we'll talk about later, Miss Dixon's son, but he's serving too many years behind bars due to the involvement of the Rankin County Goon Squad. And so we want to tell others that are watching that if you are behind bars as a result of the actions or the participation in your incarceration, if involved in that is the Rankin County Goon Squad and their notorious officers, well, we want to know about it, because you might be behind bars for too many years as well. I bring you now our honorable representative. Let's get it to him, Mr. Fabian Nelson.
All right. I'm back again. Did y'all miss me? All right. So definitely want to thank everyone for attending. I want to acknowledge Marcus Taylor, his family, attorneys Malik Shabazz, attorney Trent Walker, all of the advocates for the tireless work that they've done in this case. And I want to send a special shout out to the Mississippi Impact Coalition, who've been on the front lines for a very long time here, championing criminal justice reform here in Mississippi. So definitely, there are a lot of people that are around here doing the work, and we want to make sure that everybody is acknowledged. So today is not about politics. It's about justice, fairness, and ensuring that Mississippi's legal system works as it's intended to work. We are here because a Mississippi citizen served years in prison under a sentence that courts ultimately determined exceeded what the law allowed. No matter who you are, where you come from, or what you've been accused of, every person is entitled to be sentenced according to the law. I have the pleasure of serving on the Judiciary Review Committee here in the House of Representatives. And what we do is that's what we deal with the state criminal code, which includes sentencing guidelines. How long can you serve for this crime? We make those laws for a reason. We make those laws because that's what we see, that's what we deem fit. So it's not up to a judge to say, well, we don't agree with what the law says and we're going to do this. We have to go by the laws. That's why we are put here in place to make those laws. This issue is not about whether Mr. Taylor was guilty of a crime. It's whether he was lawfully sentenced, which guess what? The Court of Appeals said that he was. That he was not. Thank you for throwing that in there. But that he was not lawfully sentenced. They determined that the sentence imposed exceeded the punishment authorized by Mississippi law. And that should concern every Mississippian, because the rule of law applies equally to each and every one of us.
That's right.
Now, I want to commend our governor, Governor Tate Reeves, for using his constitutional authority to grant clemency and correct an injustice. You know, our governor has never granted clemency or pardon since he's been in office. But when he heard about this and he saw this injustice, he said, I got to step in and do the right thing. That lets us know that this was an egregious act to have this young man in jail longer than he should have been in jail. So I commend our governor for stepping up. Leadership requires making difficult decisions. And in this case, the governor acted to address a situation where a citizen had already served more time than he permitted. Once again, this decision is not about politics. It's about fairness and justice. So why does this matter? This matters because Marcus Taylor lost years of his life that can never be returned. And I remember hearing all across the state how they say, well, children need their fathers in their lives. He was not able to be in his child's life because of an illegal sentence. Look at where he is now. He's with his son again. We got to start practicing what we're preaching. We can't change the past, but we can learn from it. Cases like this remind us that government institutions must be accountable and that safeguards must exist to prevent mistakes from going unnoticed. Now, public confidence in the justice system depends on the belief that the law will be applied fairly and consistently. So moving forward, what are we going to do? We're going to have to carefully examine whether current laws or procedures are sufficient to identify and correct unlawful sentences in a timely manner. Because Mr. Taylor is not the only one that's affected by this. Ask me, how do I know? Say, Fabian, how do you know that? Because I've been to the prisons. I've spoken with the people out there and I've heard their stories. I've heard how they go before the parole board and the parole board puts them off for 5 years when state statute says you have to let them come back and reapply, each year. I see what's happening in our criminal justice system. So I have boots on the ground. I was out there at Central Mississippi Correctional Facility this morning trying to see what exactly is going on and how do we fix these things, because these are injustices that are happening to Mississippians. This is not a black issue, a white issue. This is a people issue. Because there are people of all races that are getting incorrect sentences, that are being denied parole after they should be granted parole. It's so bad that some of them don't even have to come to a parole hearing. They do it all virtually. They don't even see the person. When we talk about parole, we have to stop looking at the act and we have to look at the rehabilitation portion of it. Because if somebody committed a crime and they got locked up for committing that crime, it's nothing they can do to undo that crime. But we're still judging them based upon that crime, not looking at what have they done since they've been incarcerated. And so moving forward, we will be working on legislation to figure out how do we stop this from happening. When a sentence is handed down, we're going to force defense attorneys to make sure that this isn't within the guidelines of the law of the state of Mississippi. Well, that's what we're going to do. When people say I've been unlawfully sentenced, we're going to expedite the process so you don't have to wait in jail for years and go through the Court of Appeals and then have the governor grant you clemency. We have bigger problems in this state and bigger things to fix than to be battling things like this in court, things that should automatically be happening. So we're going to be revisiting a state statute to make this a more streamlined process. When we talk about presumptive eligibility, things of this sort, we're going to start reviewing all of that because we have too many people that are in jail that do not need to be there. Not just on corrected, some that do need to be there, but we have so many that do not need to be there, and we got to figure out a way to streamline that process. No person should spend a single day in prison beyond what Mississippi law allows. And today is about fairness, accountability, and ensuring that justice is applied equally. So in closing, I want to say that Marcus Taylor's story is painful, but it also presents an opportunity. This is an opportunity to reflect, to improve, and to ensure that our justice system remains worthy of the public's trust. Let us honor that opportunity by working together to ensure that no one else experiences what Marcus Taylor endured. Thank you to everyone for your attendance and your support, and we are pushing forward. And at this time, we want to open it up for any questions from press.
How do you think the defense dropped the ball in the case with Marcus Taylor?
Except for me or attorney?
Attorney Marie Shabazz or Attorney Trent Walker?
The defense, Marcus Taylor's lawyer completely blew it. Okay, we can't sugarcoat it. Their names will be withheld at this news conference to protect the guilty. Okay, but if his lawyers had acted competently, they never would have had him plead and accept a sentence that was 10 years longer than that which was legally and lawfully allowed. Okay, and they failed him terribly, and I must tell you that they will be held accountable.
Is it possibility that somebody's going to be disbarred?
I would hope not. I just would hope not, because that's just not the the that's not the business that I'm in, is trying to get another attorney disbarred. But I am in the business of getting Marcus Taylor justice and compensated for the years that he lost. And we also have to remember Maurice Taylor, Marcus' brother, who's not here. Maurice Taylor was also given clemency. He was let out around the same time as Marcus. I'm talking about Maurice Taylor, and justice for him is also on our agenda. But so I'm sorry that Marcus' defense lawyers performed poorly. The prosecutor never should have entered into this, and the judge should have known better. Somebody should have known better. Between Marcus' lawyers, the prosecutors, the judge, the attorney that came back for a rehearing for Marcus, came back and looked at it again and still blew it. I mean, the Court of Appeals decision speaks loudly above my voice. This was a comedy of errors, but there's nothing funny about it, because this man lost many years out of his life. It took the Court of Appeals to tell Marcus' lawyers what to go look for and to find. It took the Court of Appeals to tell Marcus' lawyers that you're barking up the wrong tree. You need to realize that the sentence is illegal. And that didn't happen till 2024. The lawyers were still barking up the wrong tree, still pursuing the wrong claims in the case, still going about it wrong, until on that day of July 11th, 2024, when the order came from the Court of Appeals saying, look, go and address the fact that the sentencing is illegal. And that's what got the ball rolling to have him free a year later.
Savior Nelson, I know you are the person who introduced the bill for the Narcans, and the people who accidentally were slipping away, were losing their lives, and so now they have that Narcan, and I call you the Narcan. But you're a Democrat, you're freshman, and that was passed and made national news. Why are you saying that the governor did a good job? It seems like you're reaching across the aisle. Can you explain why you are giving him flowers, so to speak?
Well, anytime someone does the right thing or does something good, we have to commend them for doing the right thing. Right. We're quick whenever people do something that we don't like or we don't agree with, we're quick to attack them. And so the governor did something good in doing this, and so we have to give him his flowers. And once again, that's working across the aisle. This is a nonpartisan issue. This is not a party issue. We're going to have to work across the aisle to get something done about this. And I have spoken with some of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle about this, and they're excited about it. They're saying that this is very much needed because this affects everybody. And, just so that I'm clear, we got to look at this. This isn't just a breakdown on the state of Mississippi. We're talking about attorneys. There's so many eyes that were on this that should have said that that's an injustice, that they didn't. So what are we going to do? We're going to put some check marks in place to make sure that everybody is being held accountable in the future. Because when you're an attorney and you're representing a client, that's why the client is paying you. They don't understand the law. They don't understand sentencing guidelines, but you're supposed to be a respected professional that knows what's supposed to happen and what's not supposed to happen.
Miss Priscilla Williams Teal, you come up for a second. We see you out and about in the field, boots on the ground, working with the Whistleblower Project, specifically with a guy named Charlie Blunt. This case is similar to Marcus Taylor's case. And yes, what do you think should happen right now, being that this stuff is still going on to this day, right now as we speak? They're illegally kidnapping folks, human trafficking, as you just seen when we was out there in Madison County and the other facilities. What do you think should happen right now?
Well, being with the Whistleblower Project and representing the National Association of Black Defenders, we have realized that there are many people like Charlie Blunt that have been sentenced, well, not haven't been sentenced, just picked up, sent to a facility without going before a judge, and they're mobilizing him 6 different places within a matter of 3 months. So if you have not been charged with the crime and they have picked you up and you hadn't, again, had due process to happen to you, what is that saying about the prison system here in the state of Mississippi? And how many more men like Charlie Blunt, Marcus Taylor, is suffering behind prison walls? Marcus had to spend 10 years in prison before somebody realizes this man has been here too long and his rights have been violated. So you tell me if this family shouldn't be compensated. You tell me if we can't reach inside of our pockets and help him and his family based on the state, the prison system messing up young men's life. Just like this mother, whose son right now is in prison because someone failed to look at how long he's been there. Imagine how many more cases and how many more children, and I say children because I'm older, but these are our young men, our young women, older men, older women that are being locked up and thrown away in Mississippi jails. So I think we should form a coalition and go to each prison system within the state and find out how many people are in jail longer than they were supposed to have been in jail. I'm hoping Charlie Blunt will be released because his rights have been violated. There's no way that he should be in jail and have not been charged with a crime. So today, I know Ms. Andrews, you was going to ask me a question, but
let's get some other questions here from the other person.
So I was going to ask for you, Nelson. So you talk about legislation. What type of legislation would you want to be put in? Like, would you want to have like a committee that would come in and kind of oversee a lot of what like previous cases and see if it's too much or too little time, or like what would be the type of legislation you would want?
Okay, that's a very good question. I would, in the legislation, what I would propose, I wouldn't propose a committee per se, but what I would propose is that once a person is sentenced, that the defense attorney has to immediately review the sentence and make sure that it's in accordance with the guidelines per state statute. Secondly, for the ones that are currently incarcerated, I want to create a process for them. If they say, I have an illegal sentence, I want to create a process that will get them before someone, be it a judge or the parole board, whomever it needs to be, to review and see if the sentence is an illegal sentence or not. Because as it stands now, if you have to file and go through the Court of Appeals, that could be a very lengthy process. You have to secure an attorney and may not have money to afford an attorney. So I want to make it a streamlined process where they can just make the complaint and then the ball gets to rolling once they made the complaint that it's an illegal sentence.
Yeah, Mr. Fabian Nelson. With the welfare scandal going on and nobody being held accountable, almost $100 million worth of welfare scandal, how do we expect anybody to be held accountable in his situation when they don't even hold themselves accountable? There's no accountability in Mississippi. That's what I'm getting to. How do we get accountability?
And the way we get, that's a great question. The way we get it is we have legislation that will hold people accountable because, as you said, it's not accountability right now. What is it that we can do? We can't go after the judge and impose an illegal sentence. So what do? We have to get a measure in place because when things are open-ended like this, this is what ends up happening. When you and that's a good point. And voting people out, showing up at the polls, making sure that you're electing the right people to these positions. That's the biggest piece of accountability that we can have is our vote.
You say your Republican colleagues feeling kind of excited about it, So how long will it take? This is my last question. How long will it take for this bill to be drafted or offered or whatever? And will it be named after one person in particular?
Right now, I think it's just a little premature. Right, being that we're just starting the process. But we are on recess until January, so legislation will be introduced in January. We're here for 90 days, and so we have 90 days. So by the end of April of next year, we should have it through the process and have it signed in the law to go effect on July 1, 2027. Provided we're able to get it moved and navigated through this legislature. But we're going to work very, very hard on it over the next few months. We're going to talk to experts about what needs to happen, talk to possibly the parole board, talk to some of our brilliant legal minds to figure out what it is we need to do, because we want to make sure that once we do this, we don't have to come back and keep cleaning it up. We want to do this and we want to make sure that it's clear as a paper that it's written on.
Oh.
You got judges that are attorneys. Like, where do people turn to when their attorney take their money and they also a judge? Like, who can they go to if they such a buddy with the You go to the AG's office, nothing happened. Go to the FBI. Like, where the next time? Where the next place can you go to?
And, unfortunately, that's not only Mississippi. This country is a buddy buddy system. So all over the country, we do see those things. We do see those things happening. Unfortunately, you can file complaints. When you have things of this sort, and go through the legal process. But as Ms. Teal said, what do we need to do?
Vote them out.
That's what we have to hold them accountable at the ballot box.
Mr. Marcus Taylor. I think a lot of people don't understand that where you started at before you got to Attorney Malik Zulu Sabaz. It was a young black or female attorney that got the process started, right? From Fed?
Not actually. She was working with Maurice, my brother.
Oh, she was working with your brother.
That's right.
Okay. So she didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. One more question, Mr. John C. Barnett. Brother John, national civil rights activist, Mr. John C. Barnett. Why is it that you think you keep getting called down to Mississippi? You're all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina. Why do you have to keep coming to Mississippi?
I guess the best example I can give you is that George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis, but he had a bald-headed black lawyer from Tallahassee, Florida, to help him. Dr. King was born in Georgia, but he went to Memphis, Tennessee to fight for some sanitation workers. So my point is that sometimes, even in the scriptures, they say that Jesus would not be honored in his own hometown. So I think it's imperative sometimes that people on the outside have to come to cities like states like Mississippi to give them that assistance, simply because of the good old boy system. See, the good old boy system is very heavy in Mississippi. I heard Minister Farrakhan said he has a heart for Mississippi. Out of all the states, Minister Farrakhan has a heart for Mississippi. So I believe that it's imperative that sometime if you can't get help, Leon, inside the state sometime, my brother Leon was talking about the buddy system, you have to go outside. I'm not from Mississippi, and neither is my big brother, Attorney Malik Shabazz. He's from Maryland. I'm in Charlotte. But when we heard the cry and the screams from Michael Jenkins, we took it upon ourselves to sacrifice. Dr. King talks about justice, but he also talks about the silence of your friends. And so I don't want to be silent. I don't want to live my life in vain where I'm silent. So it's imperative that it's important to answer your question. I think it's very important to go on the outside, especially if you can't get no help on the inside.
Let me say one thing to you. Okay. Say one thing to you on that. Just as it was in the 60s, Mississippi as a state was a focus of national attention because this is a state that is the focus of human and major civil rights changes then, and it's happening right now. That case, that original case I talked about, the case against the Rankin County Goon Squad, Sheriff Brian Bailey, well, those defendants are serving the longest sentences of any police officers in the United States of America. That's how much of a national case it was that's coming out of Mississippi, and other things. But we want to say that no matter what help come from the outside, I wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be here fighting like we were if there wasn't a Mississippi lawyer and some Mississippi activists that have the courage to stand up inside this state where they say you are not supposed to stand up. And that is my brother, Attorney Trent Walker. Let's give him another round of applause. Okay. Because if it wasn't for Trent Walker, I wouldn't be operating here in the way that I'm operating here, and we wouldn't be as successful as we were. The case that I spoke of was not Monica Lee, is the mother of Damian Cameron. The case that Attorney Trent Walker and I are on, but he's the lead counsel, is the case of Damian Cameron, the man that was brutally beaten and killed out there by Hunter Elwood. Also, Luke Stickman was in on it from Rankin County. Well, he's leading on that. That just got overturned by the Mississippi Court of Appeals. Well, that's rare that Mississippi Court of Appeals is going to overturn the circuit court out there in Rankin County. What am I saying? I'm saying Mississippi is at the head as a key part of a groundswell of justice that is affecting this country. That this case here, when you got Governor Tate Reeves here intervening and giving clemency to a black man, that's groundbreaking while Donald Trump is in office. That's unexpected. So I do want to say as we go forward, whatever legislation comes forth next term, legislation from Attorney Fabian Nelson, Representative Fabian Nelson and others, whatever legislation comes forward, because of what the governor's done, we are expecting bipartisan support. The same bad things that happened to Marcus and Maurice, they're happening to persons of all races in this state. And therefore, this will achieve bipartisan support. It's happening to our people, but it's happening across racial lines. And so we expect some progress here next term that will resonate across this country.
I just want to know, moving forward.
Yes, sir.
Moving forward, what can we expect from Justice Marcus Taylor? I know
Okay.
you gotta wrap it up.
Okay, Justice, going forward, first of all, go to GoFundMe now. Go to GoFundMe now and put in Justice for Marcus Taylor, and let's help Marcus now. While we're fighting these fights and fighting these bills and fighting for compensation for Marcus Taylor, we want you to help ease his wounds right now and help make his life better. So go to GoFundMe, Justice for Marcus Taylor, Representative Nelson, he outlined some bills that's coming forth, and we're gonna keep fighting. And I have to say that the lawyers that failed Marcus are going to be held accountable. And hopefully we don't have to have any news conferences or public dealings about that. We hope that would just be handled, and we're praying that it would be handled. So we don't have to come back here and do this publicly. We don't want to do this publicly.
One last question.
What? But I think you speak highly of Mr. Trent Walker, and he failed the ball on my case. So I don't think in Mississippi we have attorneys like you that'll stand up and go against these people. I don't know if they scared. Do you ever see any type of threats, anything, standing up for people?
All the time. Since I worked on the Rankin County case, there's a litany of either hate mail or threats, insults that come through all of the time. But that's what we're here to persevere through. That's what we're here to persevere through. My personal experience with Attorney Walker has been very good. Attorney Walker gets the same calls and mail that I do. And he does, and he lives here. And so I see him as a man of courage and integrity. It's just a lesson to all criminal defense lawyers. You're handling somebody's liberty. It's already sensitive as a civil lawyer when you're handling somebody's finance or their money that you might get. Criminal defense lawyer, you're handling somebody's life and liberty. So you have to take extra care and caution that when that person that you're representing is about to go behind bars, make sure that they're going behind bars for the correct amount of time, for the correct crime that they pled to, because a person's liberty is very sacred, and it's very important and very valuable.
Yes, sir. This will conclude today's press conference. Y'all want to do independent interviews after, you please feel free to. Thank y'all so much for coming.
Okay.